that would like to come up and for public comment? Okay, let me make a motion here to open up public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Move. If you'd like to come up and state your name and.
Thank you. My name is Chris Novell. I live in Granite Springs, and I've lived there for over 35 years. I have been at this podium before on this topic, the topic being neighborhood connectivity. And at that time, I described a little bit about it, and Rob asked me to prepare an email to go into it more. And after having been away for chunks of time and having been times, I have sent you an email, which got sent like about 45 minutes ago.
Okay.
Oh,
I haven't had a chance to review it.
You are on the hook to be familiar with it for the moment.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so I have a copy of it in front of me, and I'm going to describe a few of the main points. First, I'll go into a little bit of a story that occurred during the warm months in my neighborhood, and it doesn't depict all dimensions of what can happen at a neighborhood, but it does hit on, a couple elements, and I'll go to the bigger picture kind of things. There were two houses that had parties of some sort, one on the tertiary street where I live, and the other on the secondary street, Granite Springs Road. And so at that T where they come together, both parties were in proximity to that location, and so there were many, many cars parked on both Granite Springs Road and the tertiary street. And so what happened over time is that the path through the tertiary street into the cul-de-sacs became so narrow that a vehicle of my size could get through, but if an emergency vehicle had needed to get through, it would not have been possible. And so that opens up a number of thought ideas about, gee, nobody saw this coming. It's one of those things where actually, in the way of having a formula for an accident to happen, it has some of those ingredients. Not all accidents would happen that way, but someone in a cul-de-sac could have needed help, and it would have been hard to get someone to them. So now to open up to, a more expanded idea of neighborhood. Somers is a town, as you know, of 32 square miles. It's a large area to cover, and some of the neighborhoods are much more closely together and have a lot more structure and events. And then there's other houses that are even on the main roads. And how is it possible for them to have a sense of neighborhood? I describe ideas of how that can happen, and to suggest that the sense of neighborhood on the busy roads will not necessarily be the same as what happens in other areas. And yet it's something to try to make possible for the people that want it. I discussed the neighborhood idea with someone I know who has some background in this, and she recommended that enhancements be made through organic efforts as opposed to a top-down kind of approach, although some top-down awareness and involvement could be useful. And again, I described that. So Rob, I'm hoping that in sending you this email, you will share it with the other, the town board. And there's one other person that I think it could be worthwhile to share with as well. In particular, ironically, you have more people connecting with people. It's amazing, through technology across the entire world. And yet in our having developed habits of being online that way, some of us are neglecting to have the close in-person opportunities. So I'm suggesting that there be some thought, and it's actually a bit of a mental process. I'm actually thinking that some of the local mentality is kind of what I call the airport mentality. When we drive through and get in our car to go somewhere, we're not thinking oh, if we stop a neighbor, we're going to stop and say hi. We're thinking we have to get to our destination. And so part of having more of a cultural shift to get more into the neighborhood idea is where you need to have some shifting of that mentality. I would suggest that there's ways of including young people in this process of getting input from them. I mentioned them in here. Another area is, some of you may be familiar with CERT, the Community Emergency Response Team. 10 years ago, a police officer who still works in the town, David Burpee, was actively trying to have a training session for volunteers to be part of CERT, and that didn't happen. In this paper, I described that I had the opportunity in Chappaqua as a guest to get the training, and I suggest that, well, it might be hard to have volunteers be doing that full role, but there are ingredients from CERT that can happen in neighborhoods piecemeal. And there's different ways to sprinkle in a higher level of connectivity, and for people to be aware of resources, and for people to know how to reach out to each other. Okay. So I would suggest that David Burpee maybe could be a recipient of this as well.
I just sent it out to the board as I was here, so I sent it out to them, and I'll re-forward that over to him as well.
Okay. And then I also list different reasons for having connectivity. Some of them are toward the responsiveness to problems, and then the other ways are more social, because one of the things that is happening, if you're familiar with the Surgeon General having described loneliness as a major health problem.
National epidemic, he called it.
Yes, yes. So I include reference to all those kind of things here, and I'm calling this a community, a neighborhood connectivity thought paper for now, and I would ask that you be giving me feedback to what I have put here, both in a big picture way and with some level of granularity. And so with your feedback, then I could expand or explain as you would want.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I think that this topic you're talking about there, and many books out. Robert Haidt is the author. They talk about it in all the schools now and across the nation about the epidemic of loneliness. They cite statistics: 30% people feeling those feelings. In one school district out west, I believe it was 40% of parents of young kids said their kids had no friends. And it's all online, which is not really friends, as you allude to.
Yep.
Now, I think it was last May, the supervisor and Ray Blanche led at the middle school a group meeting on about groupthink or whatever. Maybe you want to just mention that, because I think that was sort of what you're talking about here.
Yeah, so we had a meeting last year I was a part of with the school, and just going and how we could, people who are feeling lonely, or people who are feeling who just need a place to talk and communicate with one another, and kind of bring people together, and understanding what a community is all about. And we did some exercises on that. I'm happy to say that we will be having some of those conversations again, some with our community council that we have here in the town. We'll be bringing other leaders from the organizations, and how the town can be more, how do we get people who are outside feeling like they're inside? And that was what the school was about, and we're continuing to do some more stuff on that as well in the next coming months.
This process is something that to kind of change the culture will take time, And it's not going to be by waving any big magic wand. Some things will work in some neighborhoods and some will work in others. And the idea would be to more overall sprinkle things in, to, just kickstart a little bit of that kind of thing. One thing, if I may say, at the middle school, a program that I heard about, and I hope that they're still doing it, they have senior type citizens come in and spend some time with a middle school child one-on-one. They each tell each other about themselves, and then they get together in a group again, and each person tells about the person they spoke to, not about themselves, but they had to be
Which
a
is
good.
one of the
Which
things
one
we
of the
did
things,
that
one of the things
night.
that we did that night.
Yeah. That's
One of the things we learned about other people, and then we had to tell their story to somebody else. It was pretty neat.
It's a,
But you're right. One thing isn't solve anything, and all the research around on this issue, which is getting a lot of play throughout the country, and there's a famous book. I forget the author. Bowling Alone. Used to be a group thing, and bowling alone, where literally someone does it, but figuratively, and that sense of joining things. Now, if you play in the softball league, if you're in school and you're in the band, and all these things that you do with kids to get those connections, and not all kids will feel connected. And how do you do that with adults? Most adults are not lucky enough, as I am, to work with a tremendous group of people each month. But you get it at work. And but it is a cultural problem. You're 100% right. It's not side because, okay, let's do this. Now everybody's connected. It's not going to happen like that. It is a cultural shift. And how to do that's the hardest thing to do, is to change the culture of anything.
well, hopefully I have introduced some ideas
Nice.
here. And
Thank you.
so I will look forward to getting feedback from you when pursuing it.
Thank you,
Great.
Chris. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All righty. Anybody else here for public comment? If not, I'll make the motion to close the public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. To the matters of the town board. Town of Somers update. Big update here that we've been working on for the last year and a half or so is the crosswalks from DeChico's over to lack of a better, Bobo's parking lot. And that is, the permits should be given, we should receive the permits here by next week, I'm hoping. And construction, we're looking to start, I'm hoping if everything goes well, would be middle of the month to the end of the month. That depends on getting everybody in order. So that's some big news there. So if you start seeing some construction trucks out there, so that's what we're doing, putting the crosswalk in. All right, brings me to Trailside and States Environmental Review Update and Status Report. Dave, do you want to come up first and just kind of give us an overview, and then we'll have the Trailside Estates come up and speak on it.
Good evening, Dave Smith, Planning Director for the Town of Somers. So at your August meeting, you reviewed the environmental documentation for the Trailside Estates project. That project includes property of approximately 57 acres. The proposal is for 81 townhome units. It includes the construction of a 6,000 square foot community center, a dog park, and the preservation of approximately 20 acres for in a conservation easement. The property is located just south of the Somers Commons shopping center. So that, as part of that review, you evaluated the technical reports prepared as part of the environmental assessment form. You concluded that there was enough information for the public to understand the project, the implications of the project, and any mitigation that may be proposed as part of that. The documentation was circulated to a comprehensive list of interested and involved agencies, including your own planning board, the Westchester County Department of Health, New York City DEP, New York State DEC, New York State DOT, the Westchester County Board of Legislators, and then there are a whole series of kind of interagencies within the town of Somers, including the Bureau of Fire Prevention, the Police Department, the Open Space Committee. So they were all provided copies of the documentation, and they were asked to provide comments back to your board by tonight's meeting. So just as an update, the town has received comments, separate comment letters from New York City DEP and Westchester County Planning Board. So what's suggested is that while you've had this opportunity for the interested and involved agencies to provide you with their comments, and they have, kind of the next steps in the process is that you need to consider the environmental determination under SEQR. SEQR stands for the State Environmental Quality Review Act. So that's the process that you have been following as part of this review. It suggested that the applicant be given an opportunity to respond to the comments that have been raised for your consideration. And so I think procedurally, we've been following all the right steps, and the next step is to begin to consider a environmental determination, which you would probably do at your November meeting. So that's a summary of where you are in the process. You have representatives from Trailsides Estates who are here who can provide some additional details if they need to and respond to any questions. Of course, if you have any questions for me, please.
Guys, any questions? Or want to touch on anything from Trailside? Ken, do you?
For any questions?
Okay. Do you have anything?
How's it going?
Come on.
What you doing?
How are you, Councilman? Things are going well. After the August meeting, I did reach out to both our architect and our engineer, and we expressed your concern,
Rich Williams?
yes, about ensuring that the community center is built, envisioning an expansion someday. So the architect says he feels it's pretty straightforward to do, and we can bring him in to.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I forgot we had talked about that. So
I
so
did-
there'll be
I didn't forget.
I know you're so good. So there's going to be a drawing of something like this, but you're going to build up to something like that, and then the rest of it, at some point, hopefully, we will expand out based on your building.
Well,
Yes?
I thought what we would do is the building we're going to build, we're going to show you, and then we will show you the side that we're planning with the structural beams and so forth that will make it easy to take that exterior wall down and expand it.
But his drawings will not, we can't just take those drawings and say, hey, builder, come on over here, build on with this, take these drawings. It's the same building, we just built part of it, not all of it.
I can ask. I'll ask.
Okay, that would be great.
I thought sooner or later during the planning process, we're going to have the architect down anyway. So, but I will ask.
Who's the architect on this?
The same fellow designed all of Baldwin Place, AJ Capola and his partner Mario Salpepi. So I will ask them, if you were to envision expanding that footprint, what would you envision expanding it to down the road?
You going to ask him?
No, I'm going to ask you.
Well, you know, my thought is that it's in the long-term interest of the town and its residents to expand that size, which I think is now something like 60 feet, out to 94 feet.
Okay.
It would then house a basketball court or have other things. It may need not necessarily be fully to 94 like an NBA court, but, you know, a high school court will be 88, 90, you know, something in that range, depending upon the topography and how difficult it is to build. But that's my opinion on it. So that one day we would be able to use that, and the town could also receive revenue for that because there's never enough courts, indoor courts, and running tournaments. It's hard to do that on a 60-foot court except with very small kids. So I think that the people in town, particularly people who play basketball, high school kids, others, would benefit by that, and the town might benefit by it financially also.
And also, just not basketball. I mean, obviously, if you have something like that, you can put a volleyball court in. You know, you can do all sorts of different things.
Yeah, the more space there is, sure. So if it's 60 feet, you can have a volleyball court or you can have a pickleball court. But if you build it right, you can have two going across the court to as many high schools do. And their practice courts for volleyball and or basketball are going cross court too, instead of just lengthwise. So yes, it would have more than just, my obsession with basketball.
Unless if you hadn't picked up on his obsession with basketball in the last couple of years.
Well, we're starting, pretty soon.
Yeah. Understood. I will express that to him and tell him that when we will update the plans for that building to show what we're building now and then the future expansion. Fair enough?
Sure, that'd be great. I appreciate it. I'll be happy to sit on any meeting and direct your architect as to what to do.
I'm sure you will. What is
Thank you.
what does that medal say? Hero or something? Maybe we can get him.
Yeah.
Rich.
Right.
But
Yes, you do have that.
we're here to answer any questions. Rich Williams is here, Charlie Montalbano, and just to follow up with what Dave said, I've gone through several secret reviews with the town. There hasn't been a robust response of comments. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but we're here to address any questions anybody has.
And one of the things that I think a lot of people talk about, and I saw it as one of the notes in here, is pedestrian connections, right? And how to address that, and from the Somers Common Shopping Center to where, to your development and stuff like that. Obviously, there's a big push on that, right? Connectability. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's one of the attractions here. Obviously, there's going to be sidewalks on both sides throughout the project. The existing Reynolds Drive does not have sidewalks right now. We're adding sidewalks to Reynolds Drive, and then once you hit the bottom of Reynolds Drive, you connect with the sidewalk system that's in place, and that sidewalk system. It's interesting. I was telling some seniors who live in Crossroads behind our office that they didn't realize if they follow the sidewalk, take the crosswalk, go across the street, go up the sidewalk, and then there's that Village Green in the center, and there's a whole system of sidewalks there that they weren't aware of. So I think that our sidewalk supervisor will connect there, and of course connect to Somers Commons. So I think that's one of the biggest attractions of this. Following up on, I paid close attention to what the speaker before me said. We have one of the biggest issues that we hear of today when we go, especially if we go to a city, an urban area. How can we address connectivity? You have urban centers and parts of the urban center that have been disconnected from other parts, either through lack of capital or whatever. And the idea is, everything you just heard, is how do you build connectivity and bring it back together and connect it and reconnect different parts of the urban center to the other parts of the urban center, because what we have seen is that has led to the decline of some of these cities. But as far as Baldwin Place goes, I think we have a very robust sidewalk system. If you go across the street, where we are at Crossroads, we now have a sidewalk that goes up to Mayapack Avenue by the Tool Nut, who, by the way, just tapped into the sewer, finally. Good for him. He was very involved in supporting when we ran the sewer line up there for Crossroads. And the sidewalk will run you up right before the restaurant, and there's a crosswalk to bring you across Route 6 there as well. That'll bring you to the other sidewalk into Somers Commons. So I think the prior planning will make it very convenient to connect Trailside to the existing system that's there.
That would seem to be where the future is on all things. I mean, we have a trail system here where theoretically you can go across the street behind middle school. You will find a trail. It's probably overgrown. There's a 1991 trail report that describes it. But that, you can take that all the way over into Reese Park, which at some point you can connect into Angle Fly, which at some point you can go down across, it will connect down across Route 35 and into Muscoot. There's some difficult parts to that, but I mean, that's a great thing. I mean, I think, and
There's no doubt.
you know, it sells the rural nature of the town for people who are looking for that. Maybe not everybody is, but for those who are, we're in a pretty unique situation.
Well, I'll be careful what I say on my camera, but I don't live in this town, but my
But you're
and
close.
and grandchildren do, yes. Work here every day.
Yes.
But I walk in this town because I can't walk in my town, so we come down to Somers
No, you're always welcome.
to walk. Well, thank you.
Yes.
And I stop on the trail and I envision that expanding community center.
That's wonderful.
Maybe this is a question for, that maybe someone can answer, right? So I noticed one of the things is recommend that the proposed stormwater management facility within the wetland buffer be relocated, right? Want to touch on that? With everything going on with the soils and that kind of stuff, we're seeing some devastation that's happening in North Carolina with flooding in that regard. Maybe Rich, you can talk a little bit about how we mitigate some of those risks.
Thought Rich was leaving for.
Yes.
So did I.
I'm sorry, that's different.
That's not how it works, Rich.
I'll go back to the office, work on that, and I'll come back when we got it.
Sometimes it's easier to point to someone.
Paul, you want to turn the angle around? There you go.
Wow.
On your left, my right, you will see a green circle or green area.
Give your spotter.
I have a pointer.
My left, your right. What is it? Just
You gotta take that off because
oh,
So, right there.
right there.
Okay, we have a stormwater basin that is coming off a hillside. So, the wetland buffer does come through that stormwater basin, but it is not a flat, low-lying buffer area. It's part of a slope that leads to a wetland, which is really caused because there's a culvert under the bike trail.
Got it.
So while we are in the buffer, we're not actually taking away flood storage, but actually increasing it from our development.
Okay.
So that stormwater practice is one, going to provide water quality treatment, but it is also going to provide peak flow attenuation. One of the things we see with our stormwater, particularly because we're in the DEP watershed, which requires not only what the state normally requires, but often larger volumes to be attenuated or two practices in series, we provide more attenuation than is done elsewhere in the world. And you know, if you look at some of the areas where we've designed, particularly in Baldwin Place with Avalon, where there were low-lying areas along Route 6 that used to flood, with all the stormwater we've put in, I shouldn't say it out loud, but knock on wood, it hasn't in a very long time.
Right.
So while we are in the buffer a little bit, we'll obviously have to provide mitigation. Your code doesn't prohibit, but regulates buffer disturbance. It does require us to do additional mitigation, replacement, and we intend to do that as part of this project.
Okay.
would that, when over there, the trail goes right along your where you're going to put your stormwater stuff? Is that right?
So the
Here?
trail, yeah, the trail runs here.
I'll go change that.
The stormwater is about 150 to 200 feet away.
Okay.
Again, these are planted basins. We want to be screened from the trail as much as we want to be hidden from the trail. You know, we like the idea of separation. We believe, based on the topography in that area, as well as the plantings and vegetation to remain, will be.
There'd be no reason for anyone, and I'm just guessing here what someone could say, might say, that it would affect the trail that goes, the bike trail that goes through, affected because of erosion or wearing away something. No effect on it.
No. So what happens is, again, we're sloping down. It flattens out right before the bike trail, but we're still working on the slope, and these basins will actually help attenuate that flow and slow it down
Okay.
to help
So-
mitigate some of that.
Theoretically, more stable than if there's a
And current.
10 inches of rain or something.
If
You know.
Yeah, that'd be a lot.
Actually,
Building a boat.
the 100-year storm that we now model is 9.5 inches of rain in 24 hours.
Rich wants you to exceed it, like the basketball court.
Right.
Yeah.
Gonna get hit for expanding it. But no, one of the things that we have to do with stormwater modeling that's interesting is the rainfall data that we use comes from a website that's generated in part with an initiative by Cornell that updates annually. So rainfall is all about statistical analysis and statistical data. And this website is updated annually to include the previous year's rainfall. And they're constantly, every year, they're updating the totals as well as the distribution curves. Because it's not just how much rain you get, it's how intense you get it.
So you're building this to handle
The latest data,
the latest data? With any other, buffer? I mean, maybe a little bit more or less? Or you just bring it up to the data point?
we use the latest data and then bring it into the model.
Yeah, okay.
Make sure that we're not showing any impacts. And again, because we're in the watershed, a lot of times, unless I can do infiltration, I'm actually have to providing 2 times the amount of practices in series.
Yeah.
So what the DEP has said is we want to encourage water going back into the ground and groundwater recharge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can't do that because your soils on your site don't allow you to do that, then you have to put 2 practices in series.
Okay.
So unless we can recharge the groundwater because we have really good soils, we're actually providing double the amount of stormwater.
But it's so hard to plan for any of those things. Look at Asheville. Who thought a hurricane was going to come through Asheville in the mountains of North Carolina and miss the over on the coastline?
It's
You can only do the best you can.
it's no different than when we design buildings, right? Do you design it for a hurricane and an earthquake, or a hurricane and earthquake happening simultaneously? It's all about risk management and problem.
Yeah.
Just for the public's point of view, I want to say all these documents are out on the Somers website. Just from size and scale, there's 81 units here. I saw that you were estimating 212 residents associated with this project, right? Maybe about 20 or so school district children as part of this. I mean, are you ready to talk? So basically, I wanted to, just talk about that. I mean, you go through all these extensions and estimates, but they seem okay. I mean, essentially from size and scale. I mean, you compare it to the Willows, maybe there's about 37 people in the Willows that are attending the school district. There's maybe 140 or so that are coming out of Heritage Hills right now. So it's within, I guess 20 is within the tolerance level, right?
Yes, particularly based on some of the populations and what we see happening in the school districts. Yeah.
Yes. I wanted to just say, just maybe take this offline, but maybe just have a take a look at it. I was going through some of the numbers, the conversions that you do from assessed value to generate what the taxable revenue. There's a conversion rate. I know what you did. You based it on 2023. The trend is a lot lower, maybe 20% lower. So, I mean, just maybe offline, let's kind of just take a look at that and see, what that does, all right?
We can do that.
Okay, good.
When you have that secret done, at what point does the school district get to weigh in it? Because that was changed many years ago.
They should be on this, though, right? They're part of the.
They got it now. I mean, you and I. Yeah, right. So you and I might say, well, that's enough, but
What's that?
whatever they say about it. Okay,
Well, this.
They are included. Have an
Right.
opportunity.
right, okay.
The school. This would be mailed to the schools as well, right, Dave? I mean, as part of the environmental form? Yes. All affected agencies have a copy of this.
We're all provided a copy.
Yeah, whether they have digested it or not. I mean, from my perspective, 20 students are not going to break the break the bank. You know.
Anybody else, guys? Anything else?
Nope.
Any questions? I know it's pretty much, we looked at a chance to review everything. We looked at everything there. You have your notes. We have our notes. Next
And-
steps.
And you're providing me direction with
Yeah, so
preparing the
I would go ahead and,
determination.
draft the documents for environmental determination for November's meeting.
Yep.
And then we'll see you guys in November.
Yep. And Rich, if you want to give me a call, or I'll just send a note and look at it. Okay. Good.
Ken,
Thank you.
I'm just sorry. So if I live over here and I'm going to get to there, Is there a sidewalk, or I'm going along?
He just likes using the point.
I know.
That's,
I'm waiting for a cat to come by. I can drive it crazy. If I live here and I want to walk there to do whatever, am I walking on that road, or am I?
So access to the path from the neighborhood, throughout the neighborhood, could you get to the trail?
Well, he's not asking.
Well, no, I'm not asking.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
but
get-
I know.
That's a good question.
Across, I mean, yeah, but go ahead.
So, I'm gonna trace the sidewalk with my finger, right? So we will have a sidewalk.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine.
Bye.
That's fine.
It gets-
I didn't want to make sure I heard you right before.
We'll actually continue that sidewalk all the way up Reynolds Drive,
Okay.
tie back into the community.
It's great.
And as far as connectivity to the bike trail, we've gone back and forth on that. Right now, I think based on feedback, we don't have a direct connection here, in part because of security for the community center. You know, we have to think about, nighttime things like that, so.
I thought you were planning on it, and I thought we said no.
I think we did. I mean, I think, for the community centers for Somers residents, right? And you do have the bike trail there. Last thing I'd want is for it to be a rest stop along the bike trail. Obviously, if you're a Somers resident, that's one thing, right? But we just have to be careful with security and that kind of stuff moving forward. And we have to figure that out once the community center comes and goes from there. I'm sure there'll be paths that are not really a defined path, but I'm sure that residents there will sort of find the easiest way down to the bike trail. But to go and have an access to and from there, I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of that, just for safety purposes.
Where would be the access to the bike path if you didn't cut through anything, went all the way up? Where would you get on it? If you went up to here, where would you get on over?
Over through the shopping center.
You'd have to go through the shopping center and down where. Okay.
Yeah, at one point you were talking about maybe a walking trail all the way around there. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there.
We do.
Oh, you still have that, okay. Rob, also on the other, just from a security point of view, just on the other side of the trail, I mean, you can get access to the trail, like, people can come off the trail and actually walk into backyards over there.
Yeah.
So from a security point of view,
I've heard.
you're already there.
To the supervisor's point, desire paths are a real thing in life, and people
Yeah.
have their own desired.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Gentlemen,
Super.
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, I'll get another medal. Don't worry.
Hero medal. You would like that.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Good job, John.
Can you say billable hours? No, it was him. It was Roland.
him.
Roland said
I didn't say that.
Roland said it.
Sound carries.
I would never say that.
Yeah.
Good night. Let me go on to the next topic here. Sidewalks, Heritage Hills, and Bailey Court, proposal from ELQ. We've gone over this a bunch of times. So we've gone over this. So one number came out, and then we actually, after doing our due diligence and working with ELQ, it came down tremendously. So we're probably for this crosswalk project, it's a little under $300,000. We had budgeted, I think, $500,000 for it at one time, and we got it down about $200,000. So pretty good. So we're excited about that.
And we'll see if we can find other methods of subsidizing it.
Yeah,
some way.
we continue to look for grant money for
Anybody else?
sidewalks. We continue to talk to our grant writers, talk to other agencies, and see if there's some grants
Right.
funding available for other projects, and then eventually, hopefully, maybe connecting that and bringing it up to the town hall. All right, number 4. refer the request for a four-way stop sign at the intersection of what's it?
Tie.
Ty Road and Sunset Drive to the Somers Police Department, Bureau of Fire Prevention, Department of Highways, and the Engineering Department for evaluation and recommendation. I'll make the motion to refer the request.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Refer the request for one stop sign in Heritage Hills at Westridge Drive leading towards Lovell Street near the signpost marking unit 708 to 714 from the Heritage Hills Society to the Somers Police Department, Bureau of Fire Prevention, Department of Highways, and Engineering Department for evaluation and recommendation. I'd like to make the motion to refer this request out.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Number 6, request permission for solicitation to request for proposal from New York State licensed engineer or architect for repairs needed to be made of the Homestead Horse Barn per memo dated September 20th, 2024 from Thomas J. Tuma Jr., Building Inspector. I'd like to make the motion to request permission.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moved. Also, when it comes to the homestead, we're in the process of hopefully receiving a grant from Assemblyman Matt Slater's office in $50,000 to do some repairs there on our historical buildings. So more news to come on that. Number 7, request permission for the solicitation of request for proposal for installing a dual port EV charging station be placed in the townhouse parking lot for public use and town-owned vehicles per memo dated September 25th, 2024 from the Energy Environment Committee. Make the motion to request permission.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Number 8, request permission for solicitation of bids for regular cleaning services for the Somers Library, Parks and Recreation Office, Police Station, and the Van Tassel House, as well as weekly, monthly cleaning services for the Annex and Townhouse per memo dated September 24, 2024 from Thomas J. Tuma Jr., Building Inspector.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yes, sir.
I probably should know this, but I don't. Is that the contract that we have with the people who currently do it? Is that a monthly contract, an annual contract, or what do we have with them?
Annual contract.
It's a 2-year contract.
A 2-year contract. So, do we know when that is up?
I believe it's up. It's up.
So it is up.
It is.
So this is to get
Last month,
okay,
the end
okay,
of September.
okay.
Yes, so we're going out there to look for some other companies to help us with that.
And we've had them 4 years. Probably more than 4, but this.
Even in the library? It's been that long?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, go.
All right, so I'll make the motion to request permission for solicitation of bids.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All right, number 9, authorize the supervisor to execute. So, A, the contract with LNS Energy Services for an energy audit of the Somers Library in the amount of $3,400 per memo dated September 19th, 2024 from Thomas J. Tuma Jr., Building Inspector. Make the motion to enter into the contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And then number B here, the collective bargaining agreement between the town of Somers and the local 456 International Brotherhood of Teamsters, effective January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2026. We've been working on this for quite some time. Finally came to an agreement. Make the motion to enter into the contract. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you so much. Parks and Recreation, there's no additional business. Financial, there's no additional business. Highway, no additional business. We do have some current vacancies. Affordable Housing Board, a 2-year term ending 7/11/2026. An Assessment Board of Review, 1 5-year term ending 9/30/2029. There is a open position on the Planning Board, and that is a 1 7-year term ending 12/31/2024. So that will be just for the next 3 months. I'd like to make the motion to appoint Michael Coughlin on the Planning Board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And he will be filling that rest of that term. Upcoming vacancies are Library Board of Trustees. There's 2 5-year terms ending 12/31/2024. Number 3, authorize the hiring of Jamel Carter as part-time availability PTA chauffeur from the Somers Nutrition and Adult Transportation Department, an hourly rate of $18.34 per memo dated September 24th, 2024, from Princess Guerrero, Nutrition Program Director, effective October 15th, 2024. I'd like to make the motion to authorize the hiring of Jamel Carter.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Welcome.
Welcome. And then number 4 here, rescind the resolution from the August 8th, 2024, appointment Deborah Kim as part-time Planning Board Secretary in the Planning and Engineering Department, effective mid-August 2024, to work no more than 17 hours per week, as budgeted salary of $25,000. I'd like to make the motion to rescind that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Planning and Engineering, for number 1 on this, authorize the second budget increase request for professional services proposal for the installation of the Route 202 crosswalk from Collier's Engineer and Design in the amount of $5,800 per memo dated September 12, 2024, from Steve Warfel, Engineering Department. Make the motion to authorize the increase. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And then number 2 on here, consider granting the tree cutting permit for the New York City DEP forest management work along the New York Route 100 corridor at a flat fee for the silviculture project, rather than on a per tree basis used for the development projects. The application fee required for the tree removal will be $4,820 per memo dated September 12th, 2024, from Steve Wolfel, Engineering Department. I would like to, guys, if we could, I'd like to waive the fee here of the $4,820. The amount of work they're going to be doing on Route 100 corridor, especially for the invasive species that they're taking down. If we could, I'd like to waive that and like to make the motion to enter into that tree cutting permit with the fee being waived. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Thank you. And then for review and comment on number 3, application for site plan change of use at Wright Court. And then B here, wetland and watercourse application and SMESC application, Lackner, 11 Valley Drive. I don't have any comments on this. Anybody else?
No.
Nope.
All righty. On to the proposed consensus agenda. Anybody have any questions?
No.
If not, we'll move that to next week. All right, calendar here. October 10th is our next town board meeting, and that's at 7 o'clock. We will continue our public hearings, vehicles, traffic, parking prohibited in designated locations, and then also the public hearing, Chapter 170 entitled Zoning 170-3, entitled Definitions of the Code of Town of Somers, to add the following. And then also proposed local law of Chapter 122 entitled Outdoor Dining Accessory to Restaurants and Retail Food Stores. We do have our department budget hearings, and those are on October 23rd and 24th. I believe we start at 9:30 and we go to about 2 o'clock. November 7th and November 14th, Town Board Work Session, Town Board Regular Meeting, all starting at 7 p.m. And then December 5th and December 12th, work session, regular meeting, again at 7 p.m. I'm getting a little hoarse. I do have some announcements. Then, Patty, we get into your little, you have a fun fact for tonight or no?
Rob, I'm gonna head out. I have to get on a call.
Cool.
I think we're all squared away.
We're all good. We're all
Oh,
yep,
right,
some
right.
town board announcements here.
Thanks, guys.
All right, bye.
Bye, Tom.
Somers Energy Environment Committee is looking for new members. If you're looking to help, you can email Denise Shermer at dshermer@somersny.com. Notice of water main flushing for Somers Consolidated Water Districts, Tuesday, October 1st, 2024, through Friday, November 1st, 2024. All that information is on our website. St. Luke's Blessing for the Animals, Sunday, October 6th, from 2 to 4. All are welcome, 331 Route 202. Know to Prevent virtual speaker series, Tuesday, October 8th, 2024, 7 to 8:30. That's virtual. Dr. Adam Pletter will share ways for parents to find balance in promoting digital awareness at home. Westchester, yeah, that's a big thing. Westchester Diverse Abilities Job Fair, Wednesday, October 9th, 2024, 10 to 12:30, Westchester County Center. Local voter registration, Thursday, October 10th, Somers Townhouse, and that's from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. Early voting in New York State will begin prior to the November 5th general election. Early voting period will be from Sunday, October 26th through Sunday, November 3rd. Town of Somers bulk refuge drop-off, that is Saturday, October 12th to Saturday, November 9th. Monday through Friday, 7 to 4, and Saturday, 7 to 12, Wind Waste Innovations. Somers Fire District is having their public hearing. That is Tuesday, October 5th, 7 p.m., Lincolndale Firehouse, and that's at 119 Primrose Street. Senior programs, Flowers with Friends, and that is Friday, October 18th. Van Tassel House starts at 11. Somers Veterans Committee invites veterans to West Point football game. That is Saturday, October 19th. 9 a.m. departure and returns at 5. And this includes bus, lunch, and tickets. Contact Kate O'Keefe. It's on our website as well. Purchase price of that is $70. Westchester Community Mobile Shredder coming to Somers Tuesday, October 22nd, and that's in 2024, and that's from 10 to 1 p.m. at Reese Park. Speaking of that, with our new billboard that we have out there, with the someone actually called me and said, I didn't know that you were having a mobile shredder until I saw the posting on the billboard at Reese Park. So it's working. It's working, folks. That is it for that. Patty, fun fact.
Well, on this day in history, Elvis Presley made his first public singing appearance, and he came in 5th in a local talent show at the age of 10. Fun fact, football teams wearing red consistently play better. That's after a 55-year study, and we all know how much I love red. And then upcoming this Saturday, our number one AL East Yankees are playing the Kansas City Royals. I thought I had the time. It's like 6:35, I think, start. And the Somers football team is playing John Jay Cross River at John Jay at 6:30 on Saturday, not Friday.
Ooh. Patty.
Oh, that's good to know. Saturday.
You'll be torn in half there.
What?
Yep.
Oh, yes. Like,
She'll have one on the phone and one on the TV.
that's right.
They've won 3 games.
iPad.
Yep.
And they've won 3. Yeah, they've won
Won the
3 games.
first 3.
Yep.
Rich, anything?
It was on this day in 1863 that President Lincoln first declared the last Thursday in November to be Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Till then,
Anthony?
it kind of moved around.
I think this is a peaceful day. We're done.
Yeah, so, yep, for everybody out there celebrating this evening, Rosh Hashanah, so, happy
We
for you to
wish you
celebrate.
well.
Wish you
Yes.
well. And for all the people out in North Carolina, who are suffering and that our hearts go out to you. And I'm sure they'll hopefully get you some support and some resources that you need desperately to, make this challenging time a little bit easier.
We haven't been approached at any time to, like we did when Puerto Rico, and I think in Texas years ago, when the first time it came through Houston, there's a clothing drive. We haven't been approached for anything.
We haven't yet.
I mean, obviously, the Red Cross you can always do.
But I think that
And
that time might be
Eric.
coming soon. So
Listen, you look at that.
I got to believe, probably when Tom was here, that, the utility companies have to be heading down there and, supporting the effort to, bring that back online. But that's going to take weeks.
Oh, at this
if not
time.
months.
Take weeks, months.
Yeah.
And, for sure, that thing sort of snuck up on everybody. And I don't know that it was as widely as reported initially until it really kind of gained momentum and they saw how disastrous that storm was.
Yeah, devastating. Well, on that note, I'd like to make the motion to close out tonight's meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Be well, everyone.